Welcome back, listener land. You have found again to all the cars I've loved before, your authoritative podcast on automotive nostalgia, where every car tells a story, every car has a culture, and that means it's time to plug in, dust off, and get a little grease under your nails and slip on that favorite oil-stained car-themed T-shirt. And I have kind of I am here in the panhandle of Florida wearing a collar that makes me formal in these environs, but my broadcasting partner here seems to have quite a springy T-shirt here. What you got there? Yes. Bright red. You're summoning the flowers and bees.
Yeah. So this is from I purchased it online from Fresha Brothers, antique Volkswagen repair in, I don't know, since the 50s.
Greenwich,
in
Connecticut.
Greenwich,
right?
Connecticut.
Or is it Stamford? Yeah.
Nope, it's Greenwich, Connecticut. It's on my shirt.
What a fantastic shirt. Yeah. Freccia Brothers, Freccia. Look them up. So if you're in in Connecticut, in that area, they do it all from upholstery to tops. They'll rip it apart, put it back together.
Yeah. All things air cooled. And just a little quick trivia, maybe not trivia, but yeah, they got started repairing Volkswagens when they were one of the original repair places right near the Volkswagen dealer in Greenwich.
It's her dad, right? Didn't her? No, her grandparents maybe.
Yep, grandparents. I think the Fresha Brothers business has been around for over 100 years. I think they got started painting wagons.
Wow.
Strawn wagons, something like that.
Way back.
So the old cars. So
yeah, I'd like to have a full buggy restoration. New horse and one horsepower, please.
Well, now it's all air cooled. So Volkswagen
horses themselves were air cooled, from what I know. But
I've heard. Now, have you tomorrow? Tomorrow, if you're listening to this, depending on when you're listening to this, but on April 1st, we are going to have that great interview with Guinevere Fresha, third or fourth generation of that family. And she runs all the social media for that family and that business. And
now you're not playing an April Fool's joke on us here with that.
No. Nope.
You better not
true.
be.
It's
we can't
true.
joke about that. Now,
Guinevere is not an April Fool. No.
She's the best. She's the April Queen. Now, have you been in contact with her? Because we interviewed her some time ago, and I know y'all kind of kept in touch. She's really been a great friend of the show.
Yeah. Just more on social media posts.
Gotcha. So and she's the power poster, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did drop her a note yesterday, just letting her know that we were going to air her episode tomorrow.
Yeah, and she handles all the media for that company and does a fantastic job. Check them out, Freccia Brothers. Google them. And I did want to pivot quickly, welcome new listeners. As we like to say, we're heard around the world. Paris, welcome to our listeners in Paris. I think that's a relatively new market. Welcome to our listeners in Jakarta, British Columbia, Quebec, bienvenue, Oslo, Islamabad, and Naples. So all over the world. And as you might imagine, environs around me in Florida, near Doug in the mid-Atlantic. Also some places in California, the Midwest. So welcome back. It's great to have all of you. And we're trying to read some reviews. Let's see. Let me pull some of these.
Reviews from the new website.
Oh, yeah. And I know you want to squeeze in some of the projects that you've been working on. You've test driven a few cars recently, but, I had a review up here that I wanted to read. Oh, George P. says, let me find it. If you go to our website, carsloved.com, we have reviews and Doug worked to get we totally redid the website. And Doug redid it so all these reviews just kind of scroll by when you're on, which is really neat. So here we had one.
The review carousel.
The review carousel. It's got horses and unicorns. You'll love it. From George P. says, Adam's episode was my favorite, mostly because I know him. And of course, he is Adam. Joanne S. says, I checked out your site and podcast. Excellent job. My boss is forwarding your info to a well-connected man in LA who happens to love cars. Smiley emoji. We take it where we can get it. And then I see previous guests and in some that don't know leaving reviews. But I love what you've done with the website. If you haven't checked it out, welcome back. And please do to give it a look. So I want to toss it to you before we bring in today's guest. Are there any new updates on any of the social media stuff, the tech stuff you've been working on with the website, and or car projects that you've been working on? You can take them in reverse order or just
Yeah.
pick one.
Uh, so car stuff, given that now it's getting warm in Maryland.
That's right. Cherry
So
blossoms.
my DeLorean has been up in New Jersey for a couple weeks, transmission work, and the guys fixed a bunch of different things. And it's kind of funny. These guys, they're like, yeah, basically our job is to undo what previous owners have done. So they're like, why
Yeah.
is it set like this? I'm like, so and so told me to do it. Why is it set like this? So and so, a different person told me to do it. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna set all those back to factory, and then you're good. So hope to get it back soon in the next couple weeks. My 1990 300ZX, which was my dream car in high school that I didn't own, I bought it 30 years later, which has been sitting in my garage for a couple years, 5 different colors. I got motivated. I'm putting a new starter in it. And the plan is to have one of our previous guests, Matt Pratt, who owns
Yes.
Top Coat Garage, is gonna paint it for me, and I'm super excited. We're gonna go from it was originally black, now it's about 5 different colors, and we're gonna go to silver.
The Z of many colors. Yeah, I think they
Yes.
made a Broadway musical out of it. I want to buy a car that's just beat up with a destroyed finish just to bring to that guy. Interviewing him was so interesting. I think at one point I just lost all sense of time and
Well,
script when he started speaking about the paint process and all the
yeah. Well,
wonderful.
you asked some great questions.
Thank you.
I can't wait for that episode to come out, go live.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. Is that if those of us out there that have podcasts, so we Doug and I took last month off. It was very busy, but we have a whole bunch of things queued up, right? And so they're waiting to go. So even though we interviewed Guinevere a while ago, her episode is dropping tomorrow. Of course, you'll hear this at some time in the future. So yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back. Speaking of, I think it's time to bring in today's very special guest, Doug. So
Yeah,
could you give us a little bit of a primer on
sure.
how he came into your life?
Sure. Um, well, let's see. We could probably thank social media. I think between Facebook, probably a Facebook group that I'm a member of
Mm.
called Katie's Cars and Coffee, which you and I attended, but we got there too late a couple weeks ago and everything was gone. Um, I found this gentleman, Ivan Katz, who lives in the Maryland, DC, Virginia area, and turns out he
DMV.
also has a awesome YouTube channel called Drivin Ivan, and he reviews all kinds of awesome cars and different people, and goes to those big car shows big and small, and he's just everywhere. And he owns, I don't know, 30 cars. He comes from a car family, and the thing I love, maybe it's just me thinking about people being separated 6 degrees of separation, is his grandfather had a car radio business in Alexandria. His grandfather was Morris Katz, and it was Morris Katz and Sons. And my grandfather's name was Morris Katzif, and he sold radios for cars because
No way.
cars way back when didn't come with radios.
Sure. Ivan, is all
I
that
don't
true?
I
And
don't know
welcome,
when
by
they
the
started
way.
coming with it, but they were optional for sure, especially on the early ones. So I feel there's some connection there, and we both love cars.
Ivan, welcome aboard.
Wow, thank you so much for having me, you two. This is awesome. And thanks for that kind introduction. And yeah,
You're welcome.
my granddad's motto was ever since there were car stereos. So, moving on to, I guess, when they opened the business in the 60s, you know, cars came with radios. Some didn't, like you said, but, we got a lot of cars from everywhere. I
Yeah.
mean, Porsches, people could drop their car off, head into DC for their job on the metro, come back, get a new interior or get a new radio or get their radio repaired. We repaired radios.
Ooh.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll throw in a little celebrity thing. One day I was in there and this lady happened to travel with a recorder and it broke on her. And they said, where do I go to fix this? Mara's Cats and Sons. And Alice from the Brady Bunch was in there.
No way.
I don't know if you guys knew who that is. Maybe that's after your time.
Very fantastic.
Alice from the Brady Bunch was kind of famous. So to see her.
What kind of car did Alice have?
You guys don't understand. You know, there were only a certain number of TV shows back then.
I'm not as young as I look, so yeah, I do remember Alice. Maybe it was in reruns.
We're closer in age to you than you realize.
All right, that's good. That's good.
But what kind of car did Alice have?
Well, she didn't. You know, she was probably getting driven because she was in town for something or something else.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah,
gotcha. A recorder, and it was broken. I mean, they could fix anything. They really could. My dad could fix anything. My dad could put on a convertible top if he wanted to. The only thing I ever did, I know you're going to ask me about my first car. One day on a Sunday, my dad could fix anything. And my car was not running right. And one day on a Sunday, we went there and we went to Track Auto. It was closed on a Sunday. And he said, Ivan, you see these hands? And I said, yeah. He says, they're clean. And they're going to stay clean because you're going to do this. I put in the water pump in my 1970 Chevelle Malibu convertible with a 307 and a Rochester carburetor that nobody could tune. And so that was my first car, 1970 Chevelle Malibu convertible.
And I believe pictures of this car are embedded in at least one, if not more, of your videos, I think.
What does Drivin Ivan drive is a very funny, that's a funny video because it's the first one I did. But
yes.
There is also, I didn't tell you this story, maybe it's a good one. In Old Town, Alexandria, there were parades and we all had convertibles. My dad was like, my dad had we all had Cadillacs. My granddad was obsessed with Cadillacs. So we had a 70 Coupe de Ville convertible and turquoise with white leather that I took my driver's test in. And my mom had a 66 Dodge Dart convertible. And she, that was a very cool car. We would drive it in the parade. I drove that car in the parade. And our dignitary did not show up that day. We driven in so many parades. My brother went and picked up Art Monk, the Redskins player, at his house.
Oh, wow.
He was a big Redskins fan. So he was thrilled to do that. But that day, no dignitary showed up. And I drove that white Dodge Dart. It was my absolute Ferris Bueller moment because I drove it. I said I had two pretty girls, my friends back then. And I said, you on the back, wave, you sit next to me. And we just drove right through the parade. And that video is on YouTube. Search Drivin Ivan 1966 Dodge Dart or Old Town Parade. It's so funny because the announcer doesn't have any idea what's going on. And I got to drive through a parade with no dignitary in the car. It was hilarious. But anyway, so another Alexandria story.
Where did that first car come from? Oh, did I jump in front of you, Doug? Did you hop in with something?
That was the same question I was going to ask.
Reading your mind, same wavelength. Yeah.
Well, again, this is an interesting story about the business too, because somebody came in, I think at the time, a new top on a car was like $700, $900.
Yeah.
And the guy came in with this Chevelle and he was like, I could sell it for that. I'm not going to spend $700 or $900 on the car. I could sell it for that. And it was, I think my dad or my uncle, somebody bought the car and my dad drove it home. And it was a sky blue. It was a light blue at that time. And by the time I had it, I painted it a little dark or whatever. I did a lot of stuff to it. Totally ruined it. And the selling of it was a good story too. But anyway, it was driven home and my dad was like, oh, you're never going to have this car. I was given the car pretty quickly after that.
Yeah.
So it was my first car, and it was bought from a customer, probably for somewhere around $700 or $900. 1970 Chevelle Malibu convertible, 307. But still, how much is it worth today, right?
Yeah.
How much did I sell it for? That's the question.
Yeah, not a bad car for a teenager.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Convertibles are cool. I love convertibles, and we had them.
Yep. Same.
My brother didn't like them, and he had a Plymouth Satellite, like from the B-52s, Planet Claire.
It's as big as a whale.
Yeah, that one. Well, that's another one. That's Love
Cool.
Shack. But yeah, so and they had both my brothers had Vegas, so two Vegas, and
Okay.
I got to drive Pintos, I got to drive Yugos. I mean, I drove a Pinto very early. I mean, that was one of my first cars driving.
Now, when did you? I don't want to hop in front of Doug here,
That's
but
okay.
you got the bug for European cars pretty quickly. So how did that happen? Was it were you a student of design? Was it happenstance?
I did my homework and I saw you guys. You guys have an RX-7 video out there, don't you? You just recently did a podcast on an RX-7 or something like that, or
Correct.
you
Correct.
covered the RX-7, right?
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
even the Z car that you were talking about. But when I was really little, I was in the car and I was at, it's still there, the Seminary Road and 395 exit and entrance to the highway.
Sure.
It's a roundabout. And that is when I saw a guy in probably a 70s RX-7. It probably had just come out. And he was about to enter the southbound 395. And he was in an RX-7, 5-speed manual, obviously. He chucked it sideways and just took off. I mean, it was it wasn't even, I wouldn't even say it was a drift. He just threw it sideways and took off. It was beautiful. And I was like, the cars that my dad was driving and, the American cars we were driving were super cool. And I grew up with them. But I wanted to do that. I want to drive sideways. I love one of my things to do is drive a car on the edge. I'm very fortunate to live near twisty roads, and I could take 1, 2, 3 cars up a day within 5-10 minutes. I could experience some magnificent driving. And that was the first car that showed me the way. I mean, RX-7 is an incredible handling car. It's the 70s. And, American cars, if you threw them sideways like that, the body roll, it was only in like Chips and like, the shows we watched back then that car could be driven like that, because otherwise it would be bouncing back and forth and just, you would lose it because the suspension was so loose. And again, there's a place for that. I love a Cadillac suspension or a Lincoln suspension from back in the day. But I, at that point, was so intrigued by a car that could handle like that. Was incredible. Like your Z car, your 90 Z car, again, I don't know if yours is a turbo or not a turbo.
Not non-turbo.
Okay, but still, I drove one of those very early on, and man, you could get that thing loose very easily. It had a lot of torque.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, especially if it's been raining.
Yeah,
it's
no,
really
absolutely.
good in the rain.
But they're wonderful driving cars, and that's what the Z car did. I mean, a neighbor had an early 70s. I started, I remember the first Z car showing up. I remember the first Mazda Miata that a 4-star Admiral that lived on my street had. I remember that. It was paradigm shifting. I mean, all these kids and everybody that loves Miatas and everything now, and they love to trick them out and do this and do that.
Yep.
Just the stock Miata, having something reliable like a Z car, an RX-7, it was generally more reliable than an MG or a Triumph or a, or a lunch, or a lunch. I mean, come on.
Yep.
I've always been one for trouble, and these cars. That's why my daily driver is a Prius. Honestly, I love the Prius. I have a video. Prius, the best car in the world.
Now, speaking of videos, all right, let's hit pause here for a quick second. Take our breath. Breakneck pace that we're going here. I want to ask about. All right, so the YouTube videos. If you're not aware of Drivin Ivan's content, check him out on YouTube. So many wonderful videos. He'll review a car, talk about the cars that he owns, talk about the questions everybody wants to ask. What are the costs associated with these old exotic automobiles? He'll go to all kinds of car shows. I forget one of your videos that was just recently posted where it was, but so watchable. And the fact that you did this professionally for a long time really comes through in the quality of the videos. And I really want our listenership to give it some time. Go on YouTube, check it out. And here was my question. You talk about driving through these winding roads, and from the videos that I've seen, do you still live near there? Because I know that you took some of your cars through these winding, idyllic country roads. I mean, it looks like an Audi ad. It's beautiful. You still have access to that sort of those environments.
Like I said, I'm currently down in Florida where the roads are not so exciting. But yes,
Yeah.
I live in an area where there are very twisty roads, and it is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You know, my drive to Katie's Coffee is great. It's just fun. It's a little longer than it used to be when I lived in the DC area proper. But yeah, I'm very spoiled. It's going to be hard if someday when I want to, sell and be someplace warmer or something. I love it down here, down south. But I am very lucky to live where I live. And yeah, the roads are incredible. I can take a car or two or three up there a day, and it's nice.
Interesting. So are you snowbirding in a way? Sometime down here, sometime up there, or
I'm kind of snowbirding. I came
oh,
down
so
here.
jealous.
You guys know what date it is. I've been down in Florida for a while, and I'd already been down here once in January.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm down here for the Amelia Island. It's called the Amelia now, Haggerty's Amelia, and they are very, it's a great event. It's well run. Next year, I'll probably hit the one that's in Miami and then hit that one. So yeah, I like to get out of the DC area when it's cold because I'm like I'm over this.
I hear you. Yeah, totally. Totally.
Being kind of someone who realized a long time ago that I was unemployable, that I had to work for myself. Fortunately, I have the time and the freedom to do it. I've been into Europe. I've driven the Nürburgring. I drove all over Ireland. I've driven all over England. I bought 3 cars back in the summer of 23 from Europe, and I just bought 2 more cars back from England, really, in the summer of 24. So I like driving a car that nobody else drives.
Yeah, you get
Yeah,
all
road
the
less traveled for sure.
looks, the thumbs up. I'm
The
with you.
thumbs up.
I said you get all the looks, the thumbs up, the
I picked up my Fiat Barchetta from the port, and I literally within like 2 minutes, someone was like, What is that? What is so cool? What is that?
Yeah.
No one knows, and it has like the European, the Fiat emblem, but it's not really. It just says Fiat in America, so the people
yep.
didn't know what it was. A Fiat Barchetta, and actually, I don't want to advertise, but I've got to sell some of these cars, and I do have a Fiat Barchetta for sale. So I literally bought that car
Right
because I
now?
wanted
It's for sale right now?
He has
that.
two.
I wanted that car for the hardtop that I could put
Mm,
on my car. I have a
I
blue
see.
Fiat Barchetta. You can see it. And if you see the silver one in my videos, the silver Fiat Barchetta with red leather, that's for sale. And so is my Ginetta G26 and maybe my Alpina B7 BMW.
Well, where can we find out about these automobiles for sale? We just got to ask you, or is it on YouTube, or do you have a
Sometimes
sales
they're on
video where you do a walk around, or
sometimes they'll be on the internet.
gotcha?
And yeah, I'll usually put a video up, and you can contact me on my Instagram or something like that. Driving, it's the same as my YouTube, Drivin Ivan, and leave off the G. Drivin Ivan Katz, IVANKATZ, and drive in without a G, and Drivin Ivan Katz on Instagram. Whatever. So and
Love
the
it.
real Drivin Ivan on TikTok. So
Love it. Yeah, we'll get all this in the show notes here. And I know Doug wants
yeah,
to kind of proceed with the cavalcade, the parade of your first
yeah.
cars. So let's talk about selling the first car to get into the Lancia.
Yeah. Launch.
I didn't sell the first car to get into the Lancia. I
Oh,
just I bought the Lancia. It's funny. I bought I think I could barely afford this car. I think I paid $875 or $900 for my
Oh
first
wow.
Lancia Segato, and it was red. And then I spent the money at a establishment in that DC area that I won't mention because I spent a good amount of money, a lot more than I had spent for the car, and fixed everything. And then I was driving it. My college girlfriend at the time, I ran into the house. I was like, "My car's on fire!" And she comes out with a thimble of water to put it out, and the flames were shooting up like
Oh no.
20 feet. The fire department said it was the worst car fire they ever put out. It burned. There was a Volkswagen Jetta in front of me. It burned that a little bit too.
Oh no.
The catalytic converter seized in that first Lancia, and it was just blown away. So I got the insurance, and then there was a friend of mine who was a dentist. Her dad was a dentist in town, and I said, if you ever want to sell this car, it was white. and I really hadn't seen a white. Mine was red. Most of them were red and black. There were some that were white, some were blue, some were black. There was a special edition of black, but this one was white. And I just think sports cars look good in white. Ferraris look good in white. Anyway, so white Lancia Zagato. And one day he just called me and said, "If you want it, it's yours." And he said $1,750, I think, $1,750. And it was far better than the car I had before.
Yeah.
Because he bought it at American Service Center in Arlington, Virginia, which is also a Mercedes dealership.
Yep.
And it was, I have the original receipts and everything, but $12,950. It was like $13,000 in 1981. That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a heck of a lot of money.
And what
so I bought
was it? 1981, Ivan?
1981. Yeah, the 82s had the different grille, similar to my Delta Integrale. So, yeah, I had that for many, many, many years, and then I sold. I can't remember. I think I sold the Chevelle first. Did you want to hear that story, or I don't know.
There is so much to get to, and time is melting away. Yeah, let's hear it.
I mean, it just real quickly, it was at the shop because it was. I think they were getting ready to close the shop down in the 2000s sometime, and it was horrible by that point. Nobody could ever tune it. It needed everything. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But Chevelles were coming up in value, and there was a guy. He was sitting out there every day. He started contacting me every day or so and offering me more money. He was offering me $1,000 more a day. And finally it got to a point where I was like, all right. And
can't say no forever. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm in real estate. I've renovated houses, been a realtor. And I used the money for the Chevelle to put my down payment on my first investment condo, which I still own. And I call it my Ferrari fund because someday I'll sell that and buy a really cool car.
I love that.
A Chevelle, my first car, into a condo and then turn it into a really cool car.
We'll get there for sure. Yeah, love that. Can I hop in, Doug, or did you have something you want to ask him?
No.
Yeah, okay. So want to ask about a couple of cars. So do you still have the 928?
Yes, I do. It's my second one that I've owned. This one's a 5-speed manual, 1978, first year.
Oh, wow. First year in the US. Yeah.
It's not I don't believe in buying super clean cars. It's just not my thing. Okay. I know that people love that. I like to buy drivers. This one was definitely a driver. I bought it from a guy in the rural area of the DC area, and he maintained it himself. It had like a funky shifter on it. You can see it in the video. Just search Drivin Ivan and Porsche 928. You'll see it. But this car, in fact, I'll tie it back to Morris Katz & Sons, the car stereo shop.
Please.
I was fascinated by sports cars, and the Porsche Heichmann at the time was in Alexandria, and they came by they had a 928 and a 911, and the salesman was like, "Oh, the 928 is so good. It doesn't even." I was like, "It's an automatic," and he's like, "It doesn't matter. There's so much torque in this car. It's amazing." And so I owned an 84 automatic, and he's absolutely wrong unless you're talking about a later car. 87, the S or one of the later cars are fast, S4. Even in an automatic. However, having owned both now, the 5-speed manual, dog leg shifter.
Yep, the dog leg is the best.
First is dog legged, and that's because nobody wants to be in first gear on a racetrack, whatever. It's incredible. It is the absolute German Corvette. It is so fast.
Oh, wow.
That's so much torque. Mine's kind of a dog, I don't care. It's not a perfect example, but man, I love to drive it. It's a really cool car. Really
now, how often do you drive it?
It's been, pretty regularly, but it's been acting up. I get them running and then I drive them. And this one had a key issue where you stuck the key in and it was really hard to start. So I had that fixed. And then I started driving it all the time. Now I think it's got 2 fuel pumps, I think, and one of them's acting up. So, it's always, when you have this many cars, and that's the thing, that's why I want to sell something's always breaking, and they all break at once. And it's hideous. So, I'm experiencing a bit of that lately.
And what do you do? What is your go-to when you have an issue like that? Do you kind of troubleshoot it yourself? Do you kind of go to an independent garage with some things? Do you take it back to a dealer specialist or the dealer for other things? How do you handle that on a on a car
I
like
have
that?
my local guys that do stuff for me. And I'll say to your viewers, I mean, it sounds like you guys are more crafty than I am. You probably do a little more work on cars. I hate working on cars. I hate it. Like I said, I've done it. The water pump. I did the alternator on my 911, my air cooled 911, and my the starter on that one. But it takes me forever. It's not what I specialize in. So knowing people in the clubs is good. And if you
Yeah.
know someone that likes to work on them and they do it for you and you can give them a little bit of money or something, why not? That's been especially helpful with me with the Lotus. I have a Lotus Esprit,
Oh,
and
wow.
I have a friend that has a Lotus Esprit and a Europa, like I do. I have an
Mhm.
Esprit and a Europa, and he's an incredible mechanic. In fact, my Opel Ascona is at his house. I have a 1972 Opel Ascona, and that's for sale too. That's got a Manta front end, and that's for sale. Somebody buy that for me. It's ready to go. It's
Opel
he's been making it
Ascona.
reliable. Been working on it in his spare time, so it's good to
Opel
have
Where do
friends.
you
Ascona.
where do you find these? You mentioned that you find them abroad and have them sent over. Is that what happens to most of them, or just through these car clubs you're
That's
always buying and selling?
I've just started doing that. I mean, that's the thing. This is like real estate. It's like real estate. When do you make money? You make money on the buy. When you buy something, you make the money. If you don't buy it right, I've gotten so lucky. The Lotus Esprit, I had a friend call me out of nowhere. The 1988 Lotus Esprit, the
Is
second
that
one,
for
the
sale?
Steven.
Is that for sale? I'll buy it from you.
I mean, it might be, but
It
it's
could
not.
be.
We'll
It
talk
One of the
could
after the
be.
first.
show. We're going to talk after the show.
Not.
I'll be
It's
quiet.
not
Go
one of
on.
the first ones I want to sell.
How
But
about the
Gotcha.
928, Christian? That's what you
Sorry,
should
sorry,
do.
sorry. Yep.
yeah, but do you want more on that? Because the Esprit was a cool story. But anyway, it was friends even tell me about cars back then. When I was in my buy stage, I'm not really buying anything. I gotta sell stuff. I got too many cars. It's ridiculous. I finally sold I bought the cheapest supercharged Jag. That's one of my most popular videos. I think it's got 250,000 hits or so. And I just sold that car because some guy, it doesn't really run right. And I just sold it for
Mm.
next to nothing because it went to a good owner. And he's going to enjoy it. Probably flip it, but I don't care. you know,
So
there comes a time.
how many cars do you own? I know I said 30, but I'm guessing.
I think it dropped to 29 when I sold that Jag, actually.
Okay.
The XJ.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a problem. Don't have this many cars. Kids, don't have this many cars. I would like to get it down to a very manageable 10.
Do not
15.
try this at home. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's they sometimes eventually things own you.
Well, that's
you
what
know?
I was thinking when you said that you did, it wasn't your favorite thing to work on cars. The first thing that popped into my mind was you have such a fleet that if you did that, you would never have time to travel or visit or do all the other hobbies that you have.
Also, again, and this is a thing of I try to buy cars that are in decent shape. And even though I don't care how they look, I care how they run. I care about
Mhm.
alignment and things like that. But the thing is when you have that many cars, even if I drive it a lot, if I drive it up and down the mountain, and that's how I get my kicks, that's fun for me. So, it's literally like I'm putting like 6 miles in the car. I put 6 miles on it at a time. And if I drive it to a car show, what am I putting? I
Yeah.
don't put a lot of
Yeah.
miles on the cars. I'm not wearing through brakes. I'm not wearing through tires. The problem is the time, the tires will dry rot by the time I wear them out.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what would be, you've owned a lot of, I guess, dream cars, and the ball's probably always moving the target. What would be your dream car now?
It's funny because lately, there are a lot of cars. I mean, you were talking about the JDM cars. They're so fun.
Yeah,
To me,
Skyline.
lately, it's almost like the one I just bought. I mean, I'll always, there is nothing like an air-cooled Porsche 911. They're valuable for a reason. They are incredible.
Yep.
An early RX-7. They're really cool. The Lancia Delta Integrale, the Citroen is so weird. There are special cars to drive, and they bring something that is special. The 928 is a special car to drive.
Yeah.
It's the German Corvette. It's front engined, rear wheel drive, engineered, way over engineered. And the reason I sold my C3 Corvette, I had a 77 Corvette, my first favorite car because of the shape. And I bought one,
Yep.
my blue one. You can see it. It's a popular video. But I paid all the money to have it the alignment done, the steering done, the brakes done. And if you compare that 77 Corvette to that 78 Porsche 928, the Corvette, you should be ashamed. You go to your room. It's beautiful. I appreciate the car. It's beautiful.
They drive very
God,
different.
is it a dog? The C3 Corvette was a dog. I mean, in terms of handling, unless like it's one of those, IROC ones, or one of those were really cool. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It had to have race suspension on it to handle correctly. And they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's Porsche over engineering, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Everybody always asks me, what's the best car? And I toured the Porsche Museum. I show you, just like you said, my videos where I show everything. Gotta watch that Porsche video. The Porsche Museum, the Mercedes Museum, especially Auto World in Brussels, Belgium. I show you every car. The Vault, the Petersen Vault, because they're just Porsches. We go back to the Porsche Museum. They engineer them to drive to the track, drive on the track, and drive them home. And have I done that? Yeah. My 996, my 2000 Porsche 996 that I just drove last time to Florida. Yeah. 2,500 miles in a 25-year-old car. What could possibly go wrong? That's what that video is called. Something went wrong. Watch the video. But
okay, I
drove that to the track, and I picked up a lady friend and took her out to dinner on the way back with the top down, and it was 95 degrees that day. Show me a car that can do that. Yeah. Show me. I was not driving slow on the track. I was 8, 9 tenths, and they're amazing cars. They really are amazing.
Love that ending segue here. So as we ramp down and guide the podcast gently to the off-ramp here, one last reminder to our audience, you got to go check out these YouTube videos. But I forewarn you, set aside a period of time because they're compelling and watchable, and you'll be under the hood for quite a while. But I got one last question for you on the way out, Ivan. Let's go back to the Audi TT, your 2001 Spider. And okay, so you have it in, let's see if I get this right, Laguna Seca Blue, which is the BMW racing color. But I want to hear about the baseball glove leather. Is that the interior? Is that what you're referring to? Or the top?
Yeah, baseball glove leather was an option. If you want that, it's going to have to be that gray color that looks a little wet still.
Gotcha.
I think they did it in other ones, but the first edition was like gray and it looked wet. And that's the only one where you could get that baseball glove leather. The stitching on the side, it's the color of baseball. The stitching on the side comes around.
I get it. Yeah.
It is so cool. I was just saying, if I had to sell every one of my cars, that thing is all-wheel drive. It's a two-seat convertible. You can spin in place in that car. Watch my review of that car. Just search Drivin Ivan LETT. You can, and I have 2 other videos in the snow, but the review contains that. So you can literally spin in place in that car. It's not an Audi Quattro. Little trivia for you. It's a Haldex. And where else will I find a Haldex all-wheel drive system? In the Bugatti Veyron. So it's that all-wheel drive system. And so it's incredible. That car is incredible. So fun to drive. And it's a Volkswagen to maintain. You will replace every part of them because they're terrible out of warranty. Audis, they're terrible. But you will want to because it drives so incredible. And with that custom Laguna Seca blue paint, it's
forget about it. Beautiful. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you are only going to get these insanely quirky nuggets from Drivin Ivan. And hey, I got to tell you, it was a complete pleasure meeting you. And Doug and I have been talking about having you on for months. So this was really a bucket list thing for me. I want to thank you for making time and thank you for being here, my man. We had a blast.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll have to have him back. Can we have you back to talk about more cars?
And that's the problem with this guy is that, 35 minutes into the discussion, we're only getting started, and I can feel the energy and juices just starting to explode, but we got to land it. We'll have you back at a future time. Again, Drivin Ivan was a pleasure. Thank you.
Enjoyed it so much. Thank you.
Rock and roll. We will have you back. You have just heard the high revving, low mileage, late model heard round the world podcast on Authoritative podcast on Automobile Nostalgia. You can tell we haven't done this in a month. He's Doug. Reach him at doug@carslove.com. I am Christian. Reach me at christian@carslove.com. You know how to get a hold of Drivin Ivan. He's all over the place. It'll be in the show notes, so please follow and tell a friend if you've liked what you heard. Go to carslove.com for all of our coordinates. I'm sure we'll see you at the next local car show, showroom, race strip, or concourse. We appreciate you listening, and we will see you next time.